Welcome to my temporary and impromptu outdoor studio. I've decided that if you can't fight them, may as well join them. I want to share with you 10 strategies that I believe really made a big difference in allowing me to sell everything and move into a trailer. And I'm still in prep mode right now, so I figure what better time to do a little stop and chat about kind of how this is all coming together. Number one is to take a realistic overview of your situation, because if you have an idea of your responsibilities, pros and cons, and skills versus obligations, that's going to give you a good picture that you can adapt and say, okay, here's what I can change, here's what I can't change, so that the remaining 9 strategies will actually be useful to you so that you can apply them properly. Howdy. Never thought this would turn into a movie set, huh?
Yeah, right?
Right in your own backyard. Number 2 is find a supportive partner. If that's somebody that you're dating, if that's somebody that you're married to, if that's just a friend or a travel companion, somebody that you make friends with, everything is way easier if you have a partner to hold you accountable, to encourage you, to share some of the costs, to share some of the responsibilities, and to help you strategize and plan. A good partner makes so much difference. I think I would still probably be doing all the things that I'm doing even if I didn't have a partner, but I think it would have taken me way longer to get to the point where I was ready to commit and say, this is how I want to live my life. Number 3, identify a support network. That means people who are beyond your partner, friends, family, and possibly others in the public who would be interested in supporting your trip, your travel, your mission as a whole. For me, when I started out, my mission was to raise awareness for type 1 diabetes, which I've lived with for 17 years almost. And being able to identify a few people in my friends and family and my social network who were interested in supporting that mission made a big difference. It helped me get through some really rough times, but it also kept me motivated to continue and not to back out when things were tough, because these are people who are going to want to see you succeed, and if the going gets really rough, in many cases you can turn to them for help. Number 4 is downward social mobility. This is basically what it sounds like. Instead of trying to get more stuff, get more money, and to have bigger and better, try to do more with less. Find ways to have a better experience, but without spending as much money. A lot of times there are things that we gravitate towards and that we waste our money on that don't actually improve our lives or our experience. Learning how to identify these things and get rid of them and cut them out of your spending habits so that you're able to do more with less is downward social mobility. Number 5, embrace skills and assets that you have that you can monetize. I don't mean think about what job a company would hire you to do. Rather, step back from that mindset and think about the skills you have that make you useful. What can you provide to the world? Instead of saying, I'm going to work for somebody else and build their dream, you can identify the skills that you have and then take them and market them wherever you are. Number 6 is identify comforts and things that you can do without. Look for spending habits, both time and money, that don't really benefit you and that don't contribute to your happiness. A lot of times it's easier to look back and say, in the last year, what have I bought that I thought was going to be really awesome? Or what have I spent a lot of time invested in that didn't really pay off? And then cut those things out of your life. Number 7, create manageable goals so that all of these strategies, as you're implementing them, will be achievable, again, in the short term. Instead of saying, I want to go from living a fairly conventional life, having a mortgage, having all these things, and I want to just start living on the road, start by breaking it down into smaller pieces. Say, okay, here's a certain amount of my financial obligation that I can get rid of. Here is a series of courses that I can take so that I can make my skills more transferable and marketable so that I can own and control my own means of support. Little steps that you can take will gradually get you much further than just having a big goal that's always so far off that it seems like you can't ever achieve it. Number 8, this one's pretty simple: minimize debt. There's a lot of good resources out there, but simply spend less, save more, keep short accounts. Look at the money coming in and the money going out and figure out before you buy anything, do I really need this? Put all of your priority into becoming free from the obligation of payments to anybody for any reason. Number 9, know when it's time to give up. Have a predetermined limit and say, under these circumstances, I'm ready to give up. And it's important to make those decisions and set those limits before you get out in the middle of some kind of big adventure, because everything that's worth doing always involves sacrifice and always involves things going wrong. That's the definition of adventure. That's what you're looking for in the long run. But while you're in the middle of it, it can be really tempting and really easy to just bail. So make sure that you set out your limits and say, I am not going to bail unless X, Y, or Z happens. And then that way, if any one of those things does happen, then you know that you're not just giving up unnecessarily, but that you have a legitimate reason and that it's time to go back to the drawing board and start over. Number 10 is know why it's worth it to risk failing. Rather than just going out there and say, I'm going to just make all of these sacrifices, you need to have a good reason that says, this is worth trying even if I fail. I have to be honest, I really forgot how entertaining outdoor furniture can be. Still sucks that they decided to drop this junk off in the middle of the street here, but hey, I feel like at least we put it to good use. I'd be interested to hear what you think. If you dig the new outdoor studio or not, drop a comment and let me know what you think.